Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for today's webinar. As part of our Customer Success Initiative, today is the 13th in the series of webinars that we aim to deliver on a monthly basis between product training, product updates, tips and tricks to help maximize your use of the platform, and to just generally keep everyone up to date with what's going on in Experlogix Digital Commerce. If you have any questions during the presentation or have some feedback, please type them into the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel. We'll answer as many as we can at the end, and if we can't get to all the questions, we'll answer them separately after the webinar. All are welcome. I would say this is probably one where we'll probably get a good bit of feedback. For those of you who haven't joined us before, my name is Chris Dunphy. I'm a Customer Success Manager here in AFIX, Experlogix, slip of the tongue. I've been with the company for nearly 7 years, coming up on May. I've previously led the support team here in Experlogix and now work in our Customer Success department. Today we'll be reviewing some of the recent product updates to the platform that will help you, our customers, get the most out of Webshop and, to one degree here, sales rep in terms of products. These are quite varied updates, and they have come about through customer product suggestions, feedback, and just general gaps that our product team have worked hard on to look at where we might make improvements to make the product easier for you, for your customers, and for just everyone to get the best use out of the system. For those of you who have joined over the last few sessions, you know, we've done quite a lot of varied webinars. You know, when we started off doing this approximately 12-13 months ago, we started off demoing our new management interface. We went through our visual page builder tool. We've delivered multiple training sessions on CMS, some practical sessions on like setting up sales for Black Friday and kind of being smart with the tools that we have, and lots of stuff like that. And those things can all be reviewed if you go on to assist.afix.software, and then at the bottom tile there's an option for webinars. You'll see there's like a tile for 2023 webinars. You can go in there and see all the previous webinars, and then under 2024 you can just see, well, just last month's, and now this one will be up shortly. Last month's was actually about our JavaScript API, that was titled How to Help Your Customers, Helping Your Customers Sell for You, meaning that your customers were able to get a feed of your catalog and essentially sell your products quicker and start reordering from you, because they basically have all of your catalog on an endpoint fed into their own e-commerce system. And we got some great feedback from that, which is great. And if there's any more queries on that, feel free to pop an email to me or into our support team, and we'll be glad to have a chat. This session is an overview and walkthrough of some of the more recent product updates. So we're going to look at an integration tool. We have a standard for customer reviews to broaden your customer base, maybe, and increase sales using a finance payment gateway, making it easier for reps on the road to know how to approach customers over their credit terms quickly, something that can be a bit of an awkward conversation at times. Offering improved security in the management interface. So what we're going to be talking about in this session is product reviews by review.io, Home by Flaxify, a new set of sales rep to credit badges to manage the finance element of your conversations with your customers for reps on the road. And again, like I said, path with changes to the MI. So I suppose the takeaway would be, this session it's not a how-to. It's kind of top level more so than anything else. But you know, for everything that's in here, we have really good documentation in AFIX Assist that can kind of get you started on, you know, how to start the ball rolling with this, how to get these things working in your app from the Experlogix App Store, and what it does. But we will touch on some things here in terms of how they work, certainly. So what the takeaways would be is how to use product reviews and how to set up the web shop at reviews.io, and at least point you as well to the section of our documentation hub where you can find how to do this. So we'll kind of run through that and just show what you can expect to get out of this in terms of what's on the product page, what's on the product listing page. The integration of and using Home by Flexify. So we're not going to get into the actual full process of it, but we'll just highlight briefly where you can set the app up and what you'd need to do, what you would need to do in terms of maybe contacting the support team in terms of getting that set up. What the new Sales Rep 2 badges do and practically what they can kind of offer in terms of making it apparent for your reps how they can communicate, okay, I have a customer's on hold, do I approach them? If do they not approach them? Are they over a credit? And kind of how they can kind of change those labels. And then I suppose what I would see as a major improvement in the system is knowing that the management interface is now more secure and in line with the best practices for PCI control for password management. And we'll jump into that as well. Okay, so I will share my screen. I'll just pause it just for one moment and I'll share my screen and we'll go with the product review element. Now you should be able to see that screen. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen. Should be okay. So I'm on the back end of one of our demo system. We've navigated down to our app store, and I mean you can kind of go through all of the apps that we have here. Some premium, some kind of not premium. I'm just going to search for it here. So in the search box name, I'm going to type in reviews. Then here we have review.io. And I click into that. And we can see here, this is what we're left with here. I've just removed our own ID from this video, but essentially what you're presented with is the application. You can decide to install it yourself. There's no real need for like third-party support assistance. It is very much a self-onboarding app, which is great. So it's turn on, install, enable the feature, paste in your reviews.io ID. So when there is documentation on this anyway, and I'll just jump over to that now in a moment. But essentially, when we go on to our web shop, what we're really left with here is on a listing page, we can see these little stars here. So we show this kind of general sort of review that's here in the past. Here's one that was left already. This was by Noni, who's left a comment. You can set whether this is helpful or not, and this all gets fed back into your review.io account panel. As we scroll on down, we can also see there's a review section down here. Again, this is one that's here already. First ask questions. It's all configurable from within reviews.io. So this area here is very much like there are overarching controls from within reviews.io where you can dictate how this section looks and feels to a degree. It's based off of their controls. You can dictate whether the comments or the reviews are up straight away or whether you need to review them first of all before you can allow them to go up. So there's a lot of control there, all with reviews.io. I suppose whatever the plan is that you may have with them, it's down to whatever paid plan you would have with the service provider. But then whatever that might be would be added in here onto the web shop. If we look for a product where maybe there isn't a review already, take the PS4 that we have here, £16 for a PS4. Wow, that's amazing. So again, if I click on the review up here, we can see here, it's just like be the first to write a review. It comes up like a modal iframe type scenario here where you add in your email address, your name, and all that would appear down here. So is always on the product cards down here as well. But again, how that kind of looks and feels, there's probably there's different templates that you can use for that. And then in terms of documentation, so if you go to Afix Assist or assist.afix.software, we can see if you ever type in something here, you might also notice in our documentation hub there, if I type reviews, it shows up maybe a few times. It's because we support a lot of different ERP systems, we create different how-to documents that may touch or impact differently depending on the ERP. In a lot of cases like this, for example, it doesn't really, but we still have to put in the specific document. So if you happen to land on a Sage page, but you're intact, or if you land on a SAP page and you're intact or whatever, it's probably okay unless there's something very specific ERP led. So I'm just going to click on the intact version. So I won't go through it step by step here, but feel free to go onto this yourself. It shows the purpose and scope, the step by steps in terms of how to get it to work. We really just manage that ourselves. And then after that, really, it's we have references to the external site. So that will be on the product review setup with review.io, and then the product rating snippet with review.io. So those two things, it's not us, it's not ourselves that kind of control that. So that's fully managed by the third party. But look, it's there for anyone to use, and hopefully you're able to get some use out of it. And secondly, what I wanted to talk about was Hum by Flexify. So we've a wide variety of payment gateways. And generally our kind of typical behavior as a B2B platform, or a majority B2B platform, would be most things get ordered on credit, or they get quote requests, and then we integrate with Stripe, Relix, Payu, all the kind of big major payment gateways that are kind of out there worldwide, so you can make cash payments. We have gotten numerous requests in before to kind of broaden that, especially for the likes of maybe the retail market, the trade market as well, but I suppose predominantly it's probably retail focused, where we can offer a buy now pay later option. So we partnered up with an integration with Hum by Flexify. So similar to what I mentioned before, in the App Store, it's not a self onboarding app. It is listed in the App Store, because there is some configuration and testing that would need to be done. Depending on maybe the web shop that you have. The best thing to do is maybe contact support, and then we can kind of have a conversation about like how to bring this forth onto your web shop. But essentially, what it's really meant to do is for you to broaden your customer base, to allow a customer to add products to an order as they would normally, and then the difference being that when they go to finish up on the checkout page, on the payments page, there's a payment option for Pay by Hum. That's it. So it brings you off to a third-party site, and then if I don't know if anyone's ever used this before, but essentially it means you start to run through a process on Hum to apply for credit. That's really it. And then essentially when the payment is complete, when the application is complete, when Hum authorize that you have a certain amount of credit available, you get returned back to the web shop, and the web shop completes the order, and that's it. The order is placed into your ERP system as it would you're paying by card. But yeah, if you contact our support team, we'll be able to have kind of, if it's something that you're interested in, please do let us know. The next thing is new feature in Sales Rep, and the account screen in Sales Rep lists your customers which have been imported from your ERP. So that's when as you're aware, you when you log into Sales Rep, it syncs the customers from your ERP system. We've updated the integration so that it indicates a customer's credit status. So typically, you may have had to go into a customer. Let's see that here. So typically, we may have had to go into a customer, go into the overview, and then we'd see, what's their limit, what's on order, what's their credit limit, what's their balance. We can see with this customer, the credit limit is €555. The balance is 425. So technically that customer is okay, I guess, in terms of credit allowable to them. Whereas now, there's two flags. One, on this version of Sales Rep here, I think I only have test data for ones on stop, where there's a flag from the ERP where the customer is just on hold completely, and then there's ones where the customer might be over their balance. So they're not on stop, but they're technically, their balance is X and their the credit is Y, and one exceeds the other. So it's being clear to the rep that they know how to approach a customer in that given scenario. We can see here from this example here, these indicators are usually on stop, over limit, or over credit limit. They're mapped from the ERP during the setup. Different credit status indicators are displayed depending on that criteria. So your own and how your reps approach customers is absolutely, it doesn't impact on this. If the badges don't really mean anything, then just leave them, just ignore them. It is a case where when if your rep is still placing an order, it will not affect the order. It may affect the order from hitting the ERP in terms of sales rep will allow the order to be placed. It's the rep that needs to say, I'm not going to place this order because the customer is either on stop or over the limit. When the order gets placed from the sales rep's perspective, that'll attempt to hit the ERP. The ERP rules have to kick in at that stage. Is it customers on credit stop, no sales order being raised, or the customer's over a limit, no sales order being raised, or does it just allow it anyway? That's down to kind of the settings that you might have on your ERP. But this is broadly what you'd expect. And the nice thing about this is you don't have the ability directly to turn these badges off, but you do have the ability to use the translations feature to change the label. So over limit, on stop, maybe they mean slightly different things internally. So you can change those in the translation section. So there's another document here on using the translation stop in Webshop. So feel free in the IFIX Assist page to take a look at this document where it shows how to log into the management interface, how to access the translations. So you can change lots of things on Webshop and some things on Sales Rep, these badges being one of them. Cool. And lastly, so the password changes to our management interface. Some of you might have noticed it's been like a big banner on the back end of the Webshop here. So password requirements are changing on the 4th of March. So come the 4th of March, you'll see, you'll be able to kind of see that that you'll have to adhere to different password criteria for accessing the back end of the Webshop. And we'll run through the kind of how-to guide now in a moment, but essentially beforehand in the administrations section, you were able to set a user into the back end as an admin, give them permissions, and then give them a password. As of now, I click on someone, apart from the nice new view, when I add in an email address, it prompts the user to what the password criteria needs to be. It needs to be at least 12 characters long, include 8 different characters, include at least one uppercase letter, one lowercase letter. It must include a numeric digit, and then it must include at least a special character. They need to be password needs to be confirmed, and the admin needs to be marked as active, and then there's options to view the password or not. So that's putting that in the admin's hands at that stage. So just an overview of the documentation. It validates passwords created to ensure that they are strong passwords. So it'll give you that verification there. You know, if I try to put in this here, like the old 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it shows me what criteria I have here. So it's saying that I have a numeric digit, that's great, but I meet none of the other criteria. If I add in a 1, 2, 3, 4 exclamation mark, I have I have an uppercase letter, but I still don't meet all of those requirements. And I can see that meets all the criteria, but it's flagging that the passwords don't match. So there's lots of different ways that it'll make sure that your system is very, very secure. It'll tell you as well, the system will tell you when your password is about to expire, and so you can update it before your account is locked. So that's very important. So from an admin's perspective, it'll give you a notification to say, hey, system's going to be locked, you know, change your password so you can actually use it going forward. And it will lock manage and interface accounts if that password has expired. People churn, people leave your organization or company, and maybe just doesn't register straight away for you to maybe remove them as an admin. You know, if you do straight away, great. If you don't, at least over time, their access will be revoked and removed. You can update the status of an administrator account as well. There's some information here and a link on our If It's Success page to head over so you can read more about that. But yeah, you will get an email in like late March or early April for your existing management interface password, because it kicks off on the 4th. So if you have your current password as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or whatever the case might be, or even if you don't, whatever that is, you will be pinged an email, you know, like I said, late March, early April. So just keep an eye on that, and then you'll be able to at least change your password to keep in line with the best practices. Yeah, that's it in general. Let me see. Now, we'll go see if we have any questions. I have one from John. Hey, John. So this question is in terms of passwords for Webshop, front end, will this have the same criteria? That's a great question, John. So right now, this moment, no, but they will. I would expect sometime this year. I'm not really sure in terms of timeframes, but sometime this year. I'm not sure if it's 3 months, 6 months. Front-facing customers will have to adhere to those same regulations. Yes, absolutely. And here's one from Rebecca. Can you change the length of time to change the password in 30 days? I don't think so. I think it's like fixed at 30 days as far as I can see. So maybe we'll take it as a product suggestion. Certainly, this is just its first iteration, so it might be something to consider. I'm not sure if I'd go any lower than that. Maybe potentially longer. Maybe every 60 days or 90 days, perhaps. I'm not sure if you'd want to do it any lower. But yeah, no, it's a good question, Rebecca. Certainly, just mentioned that was a query. Maybe I'm sure broadly it probably was just an overall suggestion. It has to be some sort of number put on it. So I guess 30 days is what was decided. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it for today. Yeah, thanks everyone. We appreciate you being here. Our customer success team will be bringing more content and some training refreshers, new product features in these webinars at least once a month for the foreseeable future. So stay tuned for more content. As mentioned, we'll be replying to any additional comments or questions that come in afterwards directly if they're not answered today. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.